Pardon me? Vrindavan? Hello.
I came back from Orlando.
Welcome back. Good to see you.
And Sacramento.
I know, you get around. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Kartals Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So that was the Hare Krishna mantra we were singing, which is a Vedic mantra. It means it's spiritual. And a spiritual mantra can be explained, but it's better if it's chanted and experienced. If one is experiencing the anxiety of this world, which I am right now because that painting's a little off. Can you fix that, Mukharvin, please? And the typical underlying feeling of being identified with this material world is fear, called bhayam. Everyone say bhayam. Bhayam. Fear because I think I have something to lose. But in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter, when Krishna begins his instruction to Arjuna, he tells him that you never die because you're a spiritual, eternal being. And the reason that you feel fear and anxiety is because you're identifying yourself with the robot. This body is a robot. And it's a biological robot. It runs on plant matter and water. You just pour it in the front and it goes. And we're not that robot. We're simply identifying ourselves with it. We're sitting inside the robot and it's running by the grace of God. Otherwise, how's it running? Not by my arrangement, that's for sure. Because I can't control it one way or the other, just slightly. So by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is... Did you just turn it up, Ramananda? Because it went up too much somehow. I can sit closer. By chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, then the mirror of the mind becomes cleansed. And one sees oneself as a spiritual being rather than as a material body. And one's attachments to the material world begin to slacken. Death means, of course, I can jump right into this topic of death right at the beginning of class. It's a Wednesday night, but anyway, just thought I'd mention it. Death is only difficult because of my attachments. If I had no attachments to this world, death wouldn't be a very difficult thing at all. So Vaishnavas, in a sense, die to live. They reassign their attachments because it's not possible to be without attachments, but they train their attachments in a different direction. And this requires a little bit of practice because I'm accustomed to thinking I'm the body, and when I identify with the body has senses, and the senses have their natural attraction for various items in this world. Very strong attraction. And gradually, by engaging the senses in the devotional service of Krishna, the senses also become purified. And today we're going to talk more about the process of devotional service because it's what we're interested in. And we're continuing in the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita. Where better to hear the instructions than from Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, who was the most recent incarnation of Krishna 500 years ago, 527 years ago, and about 6 weeks and 2 days ago he appeared, which is not that long ago. And while he was here, he gave these instructions to Sanatana Goswami, which were recorded in diaries. And then this book was reproduced by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who was a great kavi, which means he was a scholar and a poet. And he put together these instructions along with the other pastimes, that means the biography of the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. And I'm reading from a chapter called The Process of Devotional Service, and just reached a point at which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami that the way one begins the process of devotional service, even unknowingly, is by coming in contact with a devotee. And here he quotes a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which begins Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahurva Muktes. And that word Dwaram, that's a dwaram over there, it's a door. A dwar means a door. Mahat Sevam, so Seva means service. And when he refers to Mahat, he refers to Mahatma. So an Atma means the soul or the self. And Maha means great. So Mahatma means a great soul. So putting it together, Mahat Sevam means service to a great soul. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahurva Mukte. So it means that serving a great soul opens the door to liberation. And in the beginning, one might not have an idea what a great soul is. Of course, great souls tend to be self-effulgent. Their qualities are so sublime that people tend to notice. However, even if one doesn't and has no interest in Mahatmas, but happens to come in contact with one and renders some service, knowingly or unknowingly, one gets some spiritual credit. Willingly or unwillingly. We read that the other night as we were reading through this section. One serves willingly or unwillingly a Mahatma, a great soul, a Vaishnav. Then Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahurva Muktes. Then the door to liberation is open. And then the verse gives the negative aspect of this. Tamo Dwaram. So Tamo means darkness. Dwaram again. So Tamo Dwaram, what is that? The door to? Not very good. The door to darkness. Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Samgam. Means that if you associate with people attached to the material world and interested in mixing it up with the material world, materialistically minded people, then the door to darkness is open. And so, this is a simple formula. When asked, what is a devotee, Caitanya Mahaprabhu just simply said, somebody who avoids bad association. He avoids what another kind of association he called asat sangha. So sat means eternal or real. And asat means the opposite. That which is not real. So sangha, sa-anga. Ananga means a part, and when you say sa-anga, it means two parts come together. So asat sangha means you come together with people or someone who's dedicated to non-truth. That means this material world, the material world is temporary. It's a reflection of the spiritual world. And there's no future in it. Whatever occupation I take up here in this world will be eventually taken away. I have only temporary duties associated with this body. But I have an occupation which is eternal. And that is service to God, service to Krishna. All other occupations are temporary. They're related to this body. What are some temporary occupations that you can think of related to the body? Software engineer is what we call a temporary occupation. It's definitely your occupation, but it's temporary. It won't survive this lifetime. Hopefully. So, what are some other temporary occupations? Driving? Yeah. Think of things that are even more essential in life. Father, mother. Because you may be a mother now, but after you leave this body, you may become a father in your next life. These things are constantly changing, and therefore they're called non-eternal dharma. But Caitanya Mahaprabhu has pointed out to Sanatana Goswami that there is an eternal dharma, an occupation, which all of us have, no matter where we are, in what situation, eternally. That's a long time. Eternally. Just thinking about the word eternal stretches the mind. But it's our eternal dharma, and that is to serve Krishna. So, by coming in contact with those who are Vaishnavas, that means those whose goal in life is to serve God, and they have no other motive, that's called satsanga. You've made a connection with Sat, with God, through God's agents, those who are dedicated to God. And here, in this section, Caitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami in many different ways how important it is to have satsanga. He said it's the beginning of devotional service, it's the middle of devotional service, it's what brings one to the perfection of devotional service, is satsanga. And asatsanga is what destroys devotional service, or takes one away, because we are impressionable, because we are tiny, and we can be influenced very easily. And we are called tatastha shakti, or marginal, which means we can go either way. We're neither here nor there. We sort of go with our association. Whatever environment we're put in, we start adapting to it, and we develop that kind of consciousness. So to advance in spiritual life, Caitanya Mahaprabhu was advising Sanatana Goswami that you must seek out this satsanga. Here's a nice verse I'll read to you. It's in Madhya Lila 22:83. Krishna bhakti janma mool hoy sadhu shanga, Krishna prema janme teho puna mukya ango. The root cause of devotional service to Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Krishna bhakti janma mool. The root cause, is sadhu sangha. Association with what kind of devotees? Advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. Krishna prema janme teho puna mukya anga. So even when one's love for Krishna awakens, still mukya ango. It's the chief principle. And then there's a really interesting verse that I'm going to come back to. But I'm going to read the English and then we'll come back to it later, and I want to tell you why it's so interesting. But first I'll read it to you, and you might just listen to it carefully, and then you might see why I think it's interesting. Here's the translation. And it's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 51st chapter, 53rd verse. O my Lord, O infallible person, when a person wandering throughout the universes becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees, and the Lord of the universe. You don't have to bring it up right now, but did it sound interesting to you? Different? I'll read it one more time, then I'm going to move on, and I'll come back to it. O my Lord, O infallible Supreme Person, when a person wandering throughout the universe becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for you is awakened. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the topmost devotees, and the Lord of the universes. If you're watching online, we welcome you to the program. And if you'd like to text in, the number is 650-245-7018. You can text to 650-245-7018. Just say Hare Krishna, or you can ask a question or make a comment. Okay, I'm coming back to this verse, I guarantee you. But anyway, you heard it. And then text 85, O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. And then Mahaprabhu quotes a famous verse from the Bhagavatam, which begins, Satam prasangam mama virya samvido. This is an often quoted verse, and it was spoken by Lord Kapiladev. It's 3:25:25. And again, it's emphasizing association with devotees, and the translation is beautiful. The spiritually powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. And a key word in this verse is at the very end. It says, anukramishyati. Anukrama means step by step. It'll follow. The stages of advancement in spiritual life will follow one after another if one simply does this one thing. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido. One stays in the association of advanced devotees and hears and chants. And by that, there's a natural awakening. We'll hear more about that in a little while, unless I run out of time by all my banter in between. In which case, we'll have to try another day. A Vaishnav, this is the next verse. A Vaishnav should always avoid the association of ordinary people. Common people are very much materially attached, especially to women. Vaishnavas should also avoid the company of those who are not devotees of Lord Krishna. So, there's a basic principle described in the Shastra. First of all, as I started the discussion, we're not these bodies. These bodies are material designations. They're a vehicle. We're neither male nor female. We actually, in essence, we're female because we're Prakriti. Prakriti means the energy of the Lord, and subordinate to the Purusha, or the energetic, or the Supreme Controller. So, in essence, we are eternal servants and female in spiritual essence. Materially, we may have so many designations as male and female and so on. And the Vedic Shastras describe that the root cause of attachment in the material world, or that which binds one most firmly in this material world, is the inherent and natural attraction on the material platform of male for female and vice versa. And that there's a way, it's described poetically, practically, that there's a knot that gets tied in the heart. When Pumsa striya, these are the words in Sanskrit. Pumsa striya means a male and a female. Pumsa striya maitini bhavanitam. When they become attracted to each other, they come together, they unite, and then there's a way in which there's a very hard knot that gets tied in the heart of both of them that's very difficult to separate. And of course, we are separated because time and tide wait for no man or woman. And whatever one's relationship in this material world will be severed at some point. And my relationship, man to woman, woman to man in this material world, is also not an eternal dharma. It's a temporary relationship. So there's a way in which in the Shastra, or there are admonitions given that don't become overly attached, man for woman, woman for man, in the sense that of just for the material relationship. And the system of varnashrama, which is the progressive way in which Vedic society is set up, is meant so that one can go through various phases of life and gradually become detached from the attraction to the opposite sex. What do you think? Okay to move on? Okay. Okay. By association with worldly people, this is the next verse, one becomes devoid of truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, spiritual intelligence, shyness, austerity, fame, forgiveness, control of the mind, control of the senses, fortune, and all opportunities. One should not at any time associate with a coarse fool who is bereft of the knowledge of self-realization and who is no more than a toy animal in the hands of a woman. The illusion and bondage that accrue to a man from attachment to any other object are not as complete as that resulting from association with a woman or with men who are attached to women. So again, this is in relationship to the way the material energy is set up, and that is that the male-female combination is entangling. It's there in the spiritual world because we have Radha and Krishna. And what we see, everything in this material world has a male and female aspect. But because the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, Krishna describes how it's an upside down. When you see a tree on a lake, you see the reflection of the tree in the water. So, as it turns out, in the spiritual world, the male-female relationship is the most celebrated of all, between Lakshmi Narayan, between Sita Ram, between Radha and Krishna. But when that reflection comes to the material world, and this material world is the temporary reflection of the spiritual world, then when one pursues that relationship, it becomes degrading or entangling. And again, it's referring to materialistic people who are only interested in the material world. In the Varnashram system, it's highly recommended that there's marriage between men and women, and this is never condemned, and their union is never condemned in the Shastra when it's centered around spiritual advancement. When it's centered around material enjoyment, then it becomes the very basis for material enjoyment. And as it's said here in the final sentence, that there's no other object as complete as that resulting from association with a woman or men who are too attached to women. I just noticed when I'm traveling these days, when I go through the airports, first thing, they moved all the duty-free out into the right where you have to walk through the airport. It's same everywhere. In Narita, Tokyo, Bangkok airport. They put a brand new airport, and I was disappointed because they used to have all these handicrafts and kind of nice things you could buy for the deities made out of silk. But now they moved all the duty-free. What's in duty-free? Perfume, liquor, and cigarettes. A few watches thrown in. But not exactly what you want to see if you're crawling through the desert and you need something. But I just noticed that 90% of the advertisements that they put up are pictures of women, because that's the attractive feature in the material world. So the Shastra is giving us this heads up, be careful. Don't become attracted by the external forms in this material world, because you will become entangled. And even great kings in history, we hear about Anthony and Cleopatra. And Muchakunda, one of Krishna's devotees, talks about this. He's a great king, but he says that, I may be a big ruler, but I'm controlled because I'm attracted to the opposite sex. So we're getting a clear instruction from this, and you won't hear it anywhere else, because you're not going to hear it if you read New Yorker magazine, or the New York Times or the LA Times or anywhere else, this kind of instruction. It's only coming from here. Next verse. It is better to accept the miseries of being encaged within bars and surrounded by burning flames than to associate with those bereft of Krishna consciousness. Such association is a very great hardship. So I think we're getting the idea, right? That's pretty extreme. One should not even see those who are bereft of devotional service and Krishna consciousness and who therefore are devoid of pious activities. Without hesitation, one should take exclusive shelter of Lord Krishna with full confidence, giving up bad association and even neglecting the regulative principles of the 4 varnas and 4 ashrams. That is to say, one should abandon all material attachment. And then Mahaprabhu quotes Sarvadharman Parityaja. And here's the translation given here. After giving up all kinds of religious and occupational duties, if you come to me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and take shelter, I shall give you protection from all life's sinful actions. Do not worry. Lord Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always very grateful and magnanimous, and he possesses all abilities. A learned man does not give up Krishna to worship anyone else. My dear Lord, you are very affectionate to your devotees. You are also a truthful and grateful friend. Where is that learned man who would give you up and surrender to someone else? You fulfill all the desires of your devotees, so much so that sometimes you even give yourself to them. Still, you neither increase nor decrease by such activities. Whenever an experienced person develops real knowledge of Krishna and his transcendental qualities, he naturally gives up all other engagements and renders service to the Lord. Uddhava gives evidence regarding this. I'll read the Sanskrit to the next verse because it's a famous and beautiful verse. Aho bhakiyam stanakalakutam jighamsaya ya payat apyasadvi lebegatim datruchitam tatonyam kamvadayalum shararam brajema. This verse, Aho bhakiyam. So Bhaki is the sister of Bakasura, and that's Putana. So Krishna killed many demons when he was in Vrindavan and elsewhere. And one of them was Putana, who came as pretended to be a nursemaid, and she came into the house and Krishna killed her. But he liberated her. He gave her great benediction. And actually, the Shastras say that special prerogative when Krishna is personally present, no matter if someone's killed, whatever their motive was, if they're touched by Krishna one way or the other, they get special liberation by Krishna's touch. So Putana was given the position of one of Krishna's mothers in the spiritual world. Kind of a unique position. And she came to kill him. So Uddhava is saying she came to kill Krishna, and he gave her the highest kind of benediction. So who would take shelter of anyone else than Krishna that does such a thing? In fact, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma is saying that Krishna, you reciprocated so much with Putana when she came to kill you. What do you have left for the residents of Vrindavan now? Because what else can you do? If you liberate your enemies like that. So this is just a glorification of Krishna in a beautiful verse. Aho bhakiyam stanakalakutam. Aho means it's like, what is this? This is amazing. This is incredible. Aho bhakiyam stanakalakutam. That this demoness came to kill Krishna, and he just benedicted her like anything. And his pastimes are wonderful like that. So who would take shelter of anyone else? He's asking. Yes?
The one translation you read about the Sarvadharman Parityaja, it says like, until unless you leave all your occupational duty and surrender to Krishna, you can't take shelter. So do that, it really means that we have to leave all our occupational duties and then...
Should you what? Give up your occupational duties? Why not?
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Thank you so much.
99. There are 2 kinds of devotees, those who are fully satiated and free from all material desires, and those who are fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. Their qualities are one and the same. But those who are fully surrendered to Krishna's lotus feet are qualified with another transcendental quality, Atma Samarpana, full surrender without reservation. And then comes another famous verse which describes the process of surrender, because Krishna says, surrender to me. And then now everyone says, well, what do I do? How do I surrender? And there's a process. Sharanagati means the path of surrender. So here it is. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshishya titi vishvaso goptritve varanam tata atma nikshepa karpanye shadvida sharanagatihi. Here, the 6 divisions of surrender are the acceptance of those things favorable to devotional service, the rejection of unfavorable things, the conviction that Krishna will give protection, the acceptance of the Lord as one's guardian or master, full self-surrender, and humility. Those are the 6 steps to surrender in pure devotional service. And just interesting, in the last part of this purport, Prabhupada writes that situated in everyone's heart, Krishna deals differently according to the living entity's position. The living entity's position is to be under the protection of the illusory energy or under Krishna's personal protection. When a living entity is fully surrendered, he is under the direct protection of Krishna, and Krishna gives him all intelligence by which he can advance in spiritual realization. Are you all experiencing that? Definitely, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. The non-devotee, however, being under the protection of the illusory energy, increasingly forgets his relationship with Krishna. Sometimes it is asked how Krishna causes one to forget. Krishna personally causes his devotees to forget material activities. And through the agency of Maya, Krishna causes the non-devotee to forget his devotional service to the Lord. This is called apohana. So, yes.
Prabhu, we also heard that Krishna is not partial to anyone. So how do we understand that Krishna makes non-devotees forget him and...
It's their desire. He fulfills their desire. He's non-partial. Sunshine is very beneficial, but if you go in your house and you close all the windows and the shades and you're not able to take advantage of it. That's your prerogative. Krishna is available to everyone. There's free nectar floating at all times, and he's giving his heart through his instructions. But most people aren't interested. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatiti siddhaye. Krishna says it himself when he begins giving instructions in the Gita that out of millions of people, hardly a few are interested in spiritual life at all. Which is remarkable for those who are interested in spiritual life, because they think, why would you waste your time doing other things? They're trying to, like Mukharavind, he's trying to figure a way out of all his occupational duties right now. And, for a person on the spiritual path, they're trying to winnow out all the things that are getting in their way. For the materialistic person, they're thinking, how can I get more... how can I get more stuff, and how can I make a better arrangement, to get a better angle at enjoying this material nature and so forth. And so Krishna says in the Gita, Yanisha Sarvabhutanam, he describes how a person who's asleep to spiritual life thinks that the person in spiritual life is a fool, and that they're actually sleeping to the real opportunities of life, and vice versa. They can't see that. And all this is coming because of, Krishna's there within the heart, and he responds to the desires and the deeds of the of the living entity, he's facilitating them. And not that he doesn't give good instruction, but a person who's determined to not surrender to Krishna doesn't want to hear it. La 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 la. And so Krishna facilitates them too. That's how he's neutral. I want to forget you. So he'll empower someone to write a whole book about how there's no God and give a whole Gandharvika and then Vital.
So Prabhu, I think you answered, but I just want to confirm. So if Krishna is causing them to forget devotional service, so the only loophole is the devotees' association for them to come out of.
That's it. Devotees intervene. And the Shastra is here to intervene also. Maya Mugdha Jivaranahi Swata Krishna Gyan. There's a way in which one doesn't automatically come out, but someone has to intervene. And it's not that hard, actually, in a way, because living entities are really, they're neither here nor there. You can really influence the living entity. That's why people, for materialistic reasons, everyone advertises. Say, hey, look over here. Hey, Jiva, check this out. And a few minutes later, he's like, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. That's a good investment. And then someone else says, no, buy this one. And a little attention here or there, and the Tatastha Jiva goes either way. So if one forcefully or systematically presents Krishna consciousness, then there's a way that, little Jiva will go like, hey, that's the best deal I ever heard of. And then Krishna starts giving the impetus within the heart. He said, yeah, now you got the right thing. And then he really gives intelligence for somebody who's sincere and says, yeah, I want to do this spiritual life. And then within the heart, it's like the bells go off. Isn't it? When you find spiritual life, isn't it like in Las Vegas, they have these slot machines. And if you hit one that, turns up all aces or something like that, you win $1 million. But all these bells start ringing and there's all these sirens and everything like that. People come running in, to award you your $1 million check. And when you're sincere and you find this connection in Krishna consciousness, it's like that. The bells go off and it's like, wow. That's Krishna within the heart saying, you found it. You finally won the lottery, the jackpot. Vital?
Prabhuji, this was a question on the translation. Here it said that one of the aspects of surrender is the conviction that Krishna will give protection.
Yeah.
Right? And Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that, okay, Arjuna, you boldly proclaim that my devotee will never perish. He gives that kind of assurance as well, Masuchaha. But at the same time, we also hear that he is not bound by rules. And also in Shishtastakam, Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that, okay, either you can embrace me or reject me. It's totally up to you. And I heard once Mukund Prabhu also saying that, okay, he's the ultimate dictator. He can do whatever he feels like. So given this, how we can get that kind of conviction that...
Well, that's why Krishna told Arjuna to say, my devotee never perishes. Tell them my devotee never perishes, because he always backs up what his devotee says. And the verse Ashlishava Padaratam Vinashnamama Darshana Marma Hatam Karotuva, where Lord Chaitanya is expressing this sentiment that you can be present before me or you can abandon me. The devotee is never abandoned. In fact, when Krishna left Vrindavan, there was a reason for it. He was showing the world the attachment his topmost devotees had for him and how they didn't forget him for a second. In a normal relationship, if someone walks off and goes somewhere else, after a while, people move on with their life after a certain point. All right, it's been 20 years, I'm moving on. But 96 years Krishna was gone from Vrindavan, and they didn't move on for 1 second. They said he'd be back. He said he'd be back in 3 days, and Nanda Maharaj was going to be bringing back. So 3 days from Monday, 3 days from Tuesday, 3 days from Wednesday, 3 days from... Every day they're pining for Krishna. When Uddhava went there to see what it was like that Krishna had abandoned them, he felt that, and he's the most intimate devotee with Krishna. outside Vrindavan. And Krishna sent him there to deliver a note to the gopis. And so when he went there, he saw, my devotion is insignificant compared to these devotees. They never stop thinking of him 24 hours a day in such an intense way. So that verse is expressing a very high sentiment. It comes at the end of the Antya Lila of the Caitanya Charitamrita. And it's indicative of vipralamba, or this intense emotion of feeling of separation from Krishna, which is very difficult to understand, especially to outsiders, but it's the highest kind of happiness for the devotees. It appears to be suffering externally, but internally it's the highest kind of bliss. But in any case, Krishna is, although he's this supreme autocrat, it's not that he abandons his devotees whimsically. And it's not that the material world and it's the way that karma is set up is some whimsical process. It's not that he's just looking down thinking, oh, let those guys suffer. Every reaction, every kind of interaction we have with the material world is a perfectly balanced process, because Krishna is the perfect moral agent. We only get exactly what we deserve. And it's only for rectification and purification to come to come to real knowledge. To come to real knowledge, you have to have the perfect process. And Krishna is presenting that in the Bhagavad Gita and everywhere else for our benefit. And if we take it, then he reciprocates. He has said for all time, Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Mama vart manuvartante manusya parta sarvasha. For all people, for all time, as they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So there's no instance described in which Krishna neglected someone. In fact, Gajendra says, you're never lazy at all. You're always observing the living entity, and as soon as there's a glimmer of appreciation on the side of the jiva, or an approach, even if it's out of material desire, then Krishna gives them full facility to come closer. In fact, we read verses on Monday night in which it's described how a person who starts the pasada, satyam dishiti artitam artito nrinam naivartito, I can't remember, but this verse describes how if a person begins devotional service and then they start asking for material things from Krishna, then Krishna gives it to them, but in such a way that they'll never ask for it again. And that instead they'll want to take shelter of him. That's Krishna's nature. That's why we hear this verse, Aho bhakiyam stanakalakutam. He's all good and no bad. So there's no sense in which, Krishna is going to change you up and pull the rug out from underneath you and I'm the supreme independent. That's not how the material world works, and that's not how Krishna reciprocates with devotees who surrender to him.
Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is...
what is your name?
My name is Jay.
Jay. Hare Krishna, Jay. And there's somebody on the phone too. Hold on 1 second, because you have tree shrub in front of you, and right after that, whoever it is, you can jump in. Go ahead.
So I have a question regarding, at the earlier discourse you said about the Mahatma. So I have a little bit confusion here. So the people who bring the devotee to the Lord is a Mahatma, or... Because as we say that we Janmjati Sudra, we are not like a liberated soul. So what do you like the definition of Mahatma? That we just say if we bring somebody like who is non-devotee to the Lord.
Krishna gives the definition of Mahatma in the Gita. Mahatmanas tumam parta daivim prakritim ashritaha. So bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutitim avyayam. So Krishna says this is the definition of a Mahatma, a great soul. Mahatmanas tumam parta daivim prakritim ashrita. So ashrita, as you know, means shelter. He says, one who has taken shelter of me is under is under my protection, that person is a Mahatma. And then he says, Bhajantya Nanya Manaso. He's always thinking of me, he's always chanting about me. Gyatva Bhutadimaviyam. This is he's engaged in devotional service, always thinking of Krishna, always chanting Krishna's glories, and he's taken shelter of Krishna. That's a Mahatma. So there are different stages of Mahatmas. One who takes shelter of a Mahatma is also a Mahatma. And he may be in a beginning stage of devotional service. And the example that the acharyas give is a mango. A mango's a mango, right? No denying that. It may be a green mango or maybe a ripe mango, but a mango is a mango. So someone may be beginning devotional service, and they may not appear to be perfectly situated in devotional service. They may even have some last vestiges of material attachments, but their main desire is to advance in devotional service. It's not so easy. Once you start devotional practice, everyone has some complexity and some kind of entanglement to get out of. However, even as one's doing that, Krishna says in the Gita, Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananyapak. Sadhur eva samantavya samyag vyavasito hisa. That's in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is verse number 31, right? Yes? And that's this verse, this emphatically Krishna is saying that if one is situated in devotional service, even if that person shows some dubious character, even if someone shows some kind of bad character, if he's situated in devotional service and going on with the process of devotional service, that person is to be considered a Mahatma, a sadhu. Krishna says it emphatically. He said, you must consider, even if somehow there's a lapse or there's worldly character still left in the person, they're green mango. They're beginning the process. Still, he says, this person is a sadhu. Why? Because, as the next verse says, Shri Pram Bhavati Dharmatma Shashvash Chantim Nagashati Kaunteya Pratidanihi Name Bhakti Pranashiti. That person will quickly come to the perfection of devotional service because he's properly situated. He's engaged in devotional service, and the process is so powerful. Krishna is so merciful and purifying that anyone who sticks to it, no matter where they're coming from now, will come to the perfectional stage by his mercy and the mercy of the devotees. Does that help?
Yes. So Mahatma Gandhi, we can take him as I don't
know, what was he all about? You got to look individually. I don't make any blanket statements about anybody, but you have to look at a person. Do they qualify as a Mahatma? The main qualification Krishna gives is they have unalloyed devotion. They have unalloyed devotion for Krishna. So whoever it is, they may be a great scholar, they may even know the Bhagavad Gita by heart and so many things, but if they don't have this quality of being an unalloyed devotee of the Lord, then they're not a Mahatma. Wherever you find that quality of sincere intention to serve Krishna, or one who is taking shelter of Krishna to the best of his ability, that person's a Mahatma.
Thank you, Prabhu.
But, there's these titles in India, like Mahatma this and Sadhu that, and things like that. So you have to see for yourself according to standard knowledge. And standard knowledge means Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. These are arguably and provably the standards of knowledge. Trisha. And then whoever's on the phone.
A quick comment, Prabhu.
Yes.
You were saying about the bells ringing in when someone wins a lottery.
Yes.
And you were saying when someone connects to spiritual life, that then also it's the feeling is like that. So I was thinking all the Vedic literature they talk about, how if someone really elevates or there's some good spiritual activity, then people shower flowers from the sky.
Kettle drums
and showers of flowers. So I was thinking, there are people out there watching. If someone does something good and spiritual, then there are people out there watching that, now something is changing in his life.
Definitely. In the Brihat Bhagavatamrita, there's a description of how Gopakumar, when he's in the abode of liberation, he goes everywhere, checks out everything in the whole universe and beyond. And he meets Lord Shiva and his entourage. And then he meets the Vishnu Dutas. The Vishnu Dutas are messengers from Vaikuntha. And they begin instructing him about the power of the holy name and so forth. And then they reveal to him that they come to the material world unseen and they protect the devotees. If you're chanting Hare Krishna, wearing Kunti Mala and so forth, you've got Vishnu Dutas watching over you. So don't worry. Abandon your occupation. And who's on the phone that wanted to check in?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, this is Bhakti Noah. Please accept my
Bhakti Noah, Hare Krishna. Good to hear your voice. Go right ahead. Do you have a comment or a question?
Yes, thank you for giving such a wonderful class. I was just thinking about the one point you made about the association and how valuable it is, and the social references you gave were very, very encouraging. And one of the elders in our community has recently been kind of talking a little bit about the other side of the coin, that actually solitude can be very beneficial, although it's not generally talked about. He gave a reference of the Avadhuta Brahmana, and how he learned from this one guru, this girl, that it's good to always be alone. And there was a couple of references, but I was wondering if you could share realizations or some Tantric reference of the legitimacy of that statement, and if so, is it in connection with one's advancement and position in life, and how they apply that principle.
Could anybody hear that more clear than I did? You were asking, sorry, Bhaktino, we are having a hard time hearing you. That's the fault of our, fault of the interface of the technology here. But I heard you say something about the Avadhuta Brahman, and to explain something in reference to the Avadhuta Brahman.
Yeah, I was wondering if when applying solitude in devotional service, because you were talking about association a lot, and when you apply solitude, does it have anything to do with one's advancement or position in life, or do you have any realizations on that subject of solitude? With association.
Oh, how does solitude help? Well, Krishna recommends solitude in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 13th chapter, verse 8 through 12, there's a list of 20 items that lead to knowledge, perfection of knowledge. And one of them is to be remote, live in a remote place, and don't mix it up with the general mass of people. This can be beneficial. Really, in our line, for instance, the mood of Prahlad Maharaj was that some sadhus go off to the caves and the mountains and they try for this solitude because they're interested in their own advancement. And he said they may not be as perfect as someone who moves to the big cities and towns like Mountain View, one of the big towns in the world, and tries to liberate others as part of his duty. For that's Prahlad Maharaj. He said the person who goes for the solitude may not be as perfect. And the way our acharyas discuss solitude, or even for that matter, mauna vrat, being silent, is that you talk about Krishna and you talk about your service to Krishna. You don't talk nonsense. That's silence. And similarly, solitude is when you don't have any materialistic association. In other words, you don't associate with materialistic people. So you might even live in a big city, but if you don't open your heart to materialistic association because you're interested in something else and you only associate with devotees, that's solitude. However, if you go off to the forest and just try to live by yourself and be quiet and so forth, and that kind of, it may help at some point for a limited amount of time to take a little retreat so you can think and reorganize your service and your bhajan and everything like that. But in general, it's not recommended in our line to go off by yourself. It's even Prabhupada, when he talks about people, devotees taking sannyas, he says that actually, this is in the Bhagavatam, he says that that sannyas means connecting yourself with higher association. It doesn't mean becoming independent or, completely detached from all other people. The Avadutta Brahmin was he was very entangled, and he went through some rough times. He was wealthy, but he was stingy, and the demigods forsake him, and so did all his friends. He lost all his wealth. And just out of good fortune, he became disgusted with his life and decided to surrender to God. So he had really nobody to associate with, so he went off on his own. And as my Sankirtan leader told me once in New York, it was Romapad Swami. I forget what, it was the winter time, and I had been distributing books at the airport. It was slow. So he said, you should go on traveling Sankirtan. And I said, great, I'll go on traveling Sankirtan. He said, I got a car for you and everything. I said, okay, I'm ready. Who am I going with? He said, nobody, by yourself. I said, aren't I supposed to go with... Isn't it like a Sankirtan party? And he said, Prabhupada said, Krishna's in your heart. You should never feel alone. So I took his order and his advice, and I jumped in that VW bus, and I started driving down the turnpike and realized in the freezing cold weather that there was no heat in that van. And I just chalked out my own course because I was doing what I was told to do, and it was the most ecstatic time I'd ever had. I stayed out for a couple of weeks, and I kept running into people who, said, hey, you need a place to stay, you can stay here. And then I ran into other devotees, and everything just unfolded perfectly. And I was just amazed at because we talk about how Krishna is in the heart, and you're never alone. This is actually the dharma of a sannyasi, to be able to go anywhere in the world and not feel alone. So factually, we're never alone. But as far as our cultivation of Krishna consciousness goes, we should seek advanced association. Hear and chant in the association of advanced devotees. Serve in the association of advanced devotees. That, as we heard earlier, is really the essence, the mool, the root of all advancement in devotional service. Is that okay, Noah?
Yes, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thanks for joining. Good to hear your voice. I'm really thrilled. Hare Krishna. I'm going to keep going because I have a few more points to make that I could go another 3 hours with the amount of material I have here. But what to do? Here we go. One whose body is fully surrendered takes shelter at the holy place where Krishna had his pastimes, and he prays to the Lord, my Lord, I am yours. Understanding this with his mind, he enjoys spiritual bliss. When a devotee thus fully surrenders under Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna accepts him as one of his confidential associates. Isn't that nice? As soon as you surrender to Krishna, then he just accepts you. You're one of mine. The living entity who is subjected to birth and death attains immortality when he gives up all material activities, dedicates his life to the execution of my order, and acts according to my directions. In this way, he becomes fit to enjoy the spiritual bliss derived from exchanging loving mellows with me. My dear Sanatan, please now hear about the regulative principles for the execution of devotional service. Are you all ready?
Yes.
Charlene, you ready? I could tell. By this process, one can attain the highest perfection of love of Godhead, which is the most desirable treasure. When transcendental devotional service by which love for Krishna is attained is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service in practice. So this is exciting because it's already there. That eternal relationship with Krishna and the love for Krishna is there within our heart, the potentiality is there. It needs to be reawakened, and the process for reawakening it is called devotional service in practice. So you got to practice a lot. Okay. The spiritual activities of hearing, chanting, remembering, and so forth are the natural characteristics of devotional service. What are the natural characteristics of devotional service? Yeah, here it says Shravanadi Kriya. So we have Shravana, Adi, Kriya, the process of hearing, chanting, and when you hear the word Adi, it means and so on. So Shravana means hearing. So this is the first step, is to hear about God. And then you can advance. And then it leads to chanting, remembering, and so on. Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, this love naturally awakens. There are two processes of practical devotional service. One is regulative devotional service, and the other is spontaneous devotional service. And I'm going to read the next verse and purport. So lean in, listen very carefully, because here Prabhupada gives a summary of how one goes from regulative devotional service to spontaneous devotional service. And there's a lot of misunderstanding around this point, but Prabhupada's purports are so clear and easy to understand that after you hear this, I don't think you'll ever have another misunderstanding in your life. Those who have not attained the platform of spontaneous attachment in devotional service render devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master according to the regulative principles mentioned in the revealed scriptures. According to the revealed scriptures, this kind of devotional service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. What is it called? Vaidhi. Here's the purport. In the beginning, one has to hear from a bona fide spiritual master. This is favorable for advancing in devotional service. According to this process, one hears, chants, remembers, and engages in deity worship, acting under the directions of the spiritual master. These are the essential primary activities of devotional service. Devotional service must not be executed for some material purpose. One should not even have a desire to merge into the absolute truth. One has to render such service out of love only. Ahaituki apratiyata. Devotional service must be without ulterior motives. Then material conditions cannot check it. Gradually one can rise to the platform of spontaneous loving service. A child is sent to school by force to receive an education, but when he gets a little taste of education and at advanced age, he automatically participates and becomes a learned scholar. One cannot force a person to become a scholar, but sometimes force is used in the beginning. A child is forced to go to school and read and write according to the instructions of his teachers. Such is the difference between Vaidhi Bhakti and spontaneous bhakti. Dormant love for Krishna exists in everyone's heart, and it simply has to be awakened by the regulative process of devotional service. One has to learn to use a typewriter by following the regulative principles of the typing book. One has to place his fingers on the keys in such a way and practice, but when one becomes adept, he can type swiftly and correctly without even looking at the keys. Similarly, one has to follow the rules and regulations of devotional service as they are set down by the spiritual master. Then one can come to the point of spontaneous loving service. This love is already there within the heart of everyone. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema. Spontaneous service is not artificial. One simply has to come to that platform by rendering devotional service according to the regulative principles. Should I say it again?
Yes.
Spontaneous service is not artificial. One simply has to come to that platform by rendering devotional service according to the regulative principles. Thus, one has to practice hearing and chanting and following the other regulative principles by washing the temple. Ramananda, you hear that? That's his favorite thing. Washing the temple, cleaning oneself, rising early in the morning, attending Mangalarti, and so on. If one does not come to the platform of spontaneous service in the beginning, he must adopt regulative service according to the instructions of the spiritual master. This regulative service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. Called what? Vaidhi Bhakti. Correct. O descendant of Bharat, O Maharaj Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma, who is the Supreme Controller and who always removes the miseries of the living entities, must always be heard about from reliable sources. He must be glorified and remembered by one who wishes to become fearless. And in the purport, this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.5. It is one's duty to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the hearing process. This is called Shrotavyaha. If one has heard properly about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his duty is to glorify the Lord and preach His glories. This is called Kirtavyaha. When one hears about the Lord and glorifies Him, it is natural to think of Him. This is called Smartavya. All this must be carried out if one actually wants to be immune from fear. We talked about fear in the beginning. From the mouth of Brahma, any questions or comments from now? Yes. Narendra Prabhu.
Just a very simple comment. The Ram gave some instructions to Sabri, and one of he said that there are 9 ways of bhakti, and the very first bhakti is satsang.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we heard here also.
Yes.
Is that you get satsang knowingly, unknowingly, willingly, or unwillingly.
Yeah.
And this plants the seed in the heart.
And the idea, he told her that this is the first form of bhakti. This is the first step towards bhakti.
Yeah. Adau Shraddha Tata Sadhusanga. So Rupa Goswami says, first comes Shraddha, but then he explains, before you get Shraddha, you have to get Agyata Sukriti, and Agyata Sukriti means satsang. Knowingly or unknowingly. Actually, it means unknowingly, because in the beginning you don't have faith, you don't know what it is, so you get some unknowingly you associate with devotees. Then you get Shraddha. Then you come back for more, and you want sadhu sangha. Another question or point? Shraddha.
Maharaj, here we were talking about the Vaidhi Bhakti and the Raganu Bhakti, and in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked the question about what happens to the unsuccessful transcendentalist. So one is born in the aristocratic family and other is born in the family of transcendentalists. So is there some relationship that one is in the one will be born as a Vaidhi Bhakt and other will be born as a Raganuka?
Well, just the correlation is that according to one's advancement, if one makes 24% advancement in this life, then he begins at 25. There's no, exact correlation according to the, what we're talking about here. But really, what he's describing there is that whatever advancement you make is never lost. You pick up in your next life. Krishna reminds you and sets you up so you can continue with what you're doing. You get forward progress. Forward motion is counted.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the best thing is to be born in the family of Vaishnavas. Right? Vrindavan? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just a small comment. In the previous purport we were discussing about, it was mentioned about how the child is sent to school by force at the beginning. And the thought that came to my mind was quite a few times we have mentioned that take it as a medicine, even if you don't appreciate the taste. I mean, just keep taking it, and at some point the medicine is already acting. But just like it's suffering from jaundice, that it tastes bitter, but keep on taking and taking and taking. So that's what I was trying to connect with, the force at the beginning, but later you actually get that ruchi, and then you start.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for bringing up that example. It's very apt. Jay?
can you be the true devotee of Lord and also get the full benefit of materialistic things? Just like Vivisen.
Yes, sure. Sudama Brahman, we talked about him the other night. He was pure devotee of the Lord. He went to see Krishna because his wife said, we don't have anything. Why don't you go see Krishna? He's in Dwarka and he's the king and so forth. Sudama went there. He didn't have any desire whatsoever to ask him for anything. He brought a little tiny gift that he begged on the way, little rice. When he got there, Krishna was so happy to see his old friend from the Gurukul. He washed his feet. They talked about old times and everything like that. And then Krishna had to snatch that gift away from Sudama because Sudama was too embarrassed to give it. It was such an insignificant little thing. But Krishna took it out of love. And when Sudama left there, he thought, well, I didn't get anything. But I didn't want anything. I didn't need. That was good enough for me just to see, to be with my friend Krishna. And all the way home, he was remembering Krishna. And then when he got home, his whole, whatever little, hut he was living in had turned into a huge palace. And it was more opulent than the kingdom of heaven. And of course, Krishna, for a person when materialistic things will ruin him and ruin his devotional service, he does the opposite. He takes them away. Sudama was the other way. He was actually attached to renunciation. So Krishna gave him opulence. But in the Mahabharata, Krishna says to Yudhishthira, Yasyaham anugrinami harishe tadhanam shanai. When I start showing my real mercy to somebody who's materially attached, I start taking away all his money. And then everyone forsakes him and says, hey, you're a loser. Get out of here. And he has nowhere else to go except take shelter of Krishna. So it depends. And if your question is, can you have devotional service and still live happily in the material world? Only a fool can live happily in the material world. This is what the Bhagavatam says. There's two kinds of people that are happy. The complete fool who's just absorbed, like pigs seem to be happy. I watch them in Vrindavan. They never take their nose off the ground because they're always eating something. And if you separate their nose from the ground for 2 seconds, they'll go crazy. And so materialistic people who are they go from one thing to the next thinking that, I'm going to enjoy this next thing, then they don't stop to think about their existence or anything. They're in ignorance. And this is a fool's paradise. And then there's the Paramahamsa who's completely liberated, has no attachment in the material world at all. And that person's also happy. But everyone in between who's endeavoring for spiritual life but isn't there yet suffers like anything. And that's good. Suffering is purifying. Pain is purifying. Suffering is purifying. Not that we go out of our way for it. Of course we do. That's what tapasya means. We take some voluntary suffering for the right purpose. But it shouldn't be harsh. Actually, Shastra says it shouldn't be harsh, because if you take harsh austerities, it makes your heart hard. But you should take devotional austerities, and then you become purified. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's one thing. You can't think, Krishna, I love you, but please let me be attached to the material world. Krishna will outsmart you every time. He'll take that impetus that you have for devotional service, and then he'll give you the other things that you want in such a way that you won't want them anymore. You really want that? Here, take it. And then you go, God, I don't want that anymore. It's horrible, and that's ruined my life, and now I'm dying because of it, or whatever. And then you have to take full shelter of Krishna. Vishaka Lila? Better to voluntarily surrender to Krishna. That's just the best program, is just give up.
Prabhu, I want to clarify my understanding followed by a question.
Okay.
So, spontaneous devotional service has the elements of Vaidhi Bhakti. It's just that it's
part of devotional service and practice. The spontaneous devotional service is part of that. It's an extension of that, yes.
Yeah, but it's done with more natural taste than as a matter of duty.
Not more natural taste, it is a natural taste. There's a natural taste. Devotional service is tasty, but in the beginning I can't taste it because I have jaundice. Okay. So, and the kind of rules and regulations we're practicing are under the direction of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the kind of vaidhi or regulative devotional service that we're doing is meant to wake up spontaneous devotional service. It's not rules and regulations for the sake of rules and regulations because we want to worship Krishna in a mechanical way, but it's because I don't have a taste. Therefore, I follow these regulations, which we're about to hear about, some of them. And by proximity to these activities of devotional service, like worshiping Tulsi Devi, this will wake up spontaneous love in your heart. My first experience coming to the temple, I couldn't believe how blissful that Tulsi Artik was. It was in San Francisco. The temple was all white because it used to be a funeral parlor. And there was a skylight in the middle of the ceiling. It was a beautiful temple. And then all these pictures, like these original pictures were around then, so they really stood out. And then we had the Tulsi Puja right before Prasadam and after Guru Puja. Actually, we didn't have Guru Puja when I first joined. That came later. But then we had Tulsi Puja after the Bhagavatam class, and the light was coming in. And devotees were circumambulating Tulsi and singing that song. And I thought, it just doesn't get any better than this. And I had no idea who Tulsi was or anything. I just said, this is the happiest thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, these devotional practices are kevala anandakanda. They're naturally blissful. And we just have to stay around them long enough without making offenses for them to actually stimulate that original love that we have in our heart. And then it becomes spontaneous. I mean, you see devotees, they can't stop doing their service. You couldn't stop them, if you put them behind bars and tied them up. They'd still figure out a way to do their service because they're so attached to it and they have so much taste from doing their service. And so that naturally comes as one matures in devotional service. And the spontaneous taste is there. It becomes spontaneous.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay.
My question is, can one go back to Godhead just by performing Vaidhi Bhakti? Because I can't see myself coming to the stage of spontaneous devotional service. So I'm kind of anxious to know if I just continue performing Vaidhi Bhakti, is there a chance for me to go back to Krishna?
Well, as I said, the kind of rules and regulations, Vaidhi, that you're practicing are there to wake up that spontaneous love for Krishna. You'll go where you're attracted. And devotees who are spontaneously attracted to Krishna go to Goloka Vrindavan. But I wouldn't count yourself out so quickly because, although it seems like a difficult thing, there's so many encouragements throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, I want to read one for you before we finish, so I better budget my time. I'm going to go on just a little bit more, and then because I set up the class on Saturday for talking about spontaneous devotional service, I can easily overlap these two because, we're running out of time. But I'll read you a very optimistic verse. They're all optimistic. And there are ways in which you may not realize what your advancement is until you leave this world. That's possible. And also, in talking about chanting the holy name of the Lord, which is one of the most important processes of devotional service, the most, actually. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about how the result or the spontaneous taste for chanting the holy name comes in due course. You just have to wait. You can't rush it. It's like fruits that grow on a tree. They take time to ripen. I mean, first the little flower's there, and then the fruit comes out, and then, it grows and grows and grows. So you have to be patient. That's important. Patience is important. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says that you may not experience that full taste in this lifetime. Krishna may wait till you leave your body, and then you'll see it. because he doesn't want to freak out all the other people doing other processes. That's what he says. If everyone attained a complete perfection from the process of bhakti, then what would happen to all the people on the karma marg and the jnana marg? They would be disappointed and they wouldn't be able to follow their path. So Krishna reserves a little bit and holds back the complete perfection from some of the bhakti yogis, so that it doesn't disturb others. So just hang in there. Okay. Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten. At any time, all the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be the servants of these two principles. And, of course, when Prabhupada started the Krishna consciousness movement, he didn't come in with a bunch of rules and regulations. He just taught devotees how to think of Krishna. And then as they progressed and they became more interested, he gave them these principles to follow so that they could make more advancement in devotional service. Yes? This verse is text 113. And in the purport, second paragraph, Prabhupada says, one may sell books or enlist life members or render some other service, but these duties are not ordinary duties. These duties serve as an impetus for remembering Krishna. When one goes with a Sankirtan party or sells books, he naturally remembers that he is going to sell Krishna's books. In this way, he is remembering Krishna. When one goes to enlist a life member, he talks about Krishna and thereby remembers him. Smarta vyasa tatam vishnur vismartavyo najatuchit. The conclusion is that one must act in such a way that he will always remember Krishna, and one must refrain from doing things that make him forget Krishna. These two principles form the basic background of Krishna consciousness. Then Lord Caitanya says, I shall say something about the various practices of devotional service, which is expanded in so many ways. I wish to speak briefly of the essential practices. Here we go. I'll get a few of them in because I don't think I can get to the end of 64 and still read you the purport to encourage you. But so, text 115. On the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items. And Lord Caitanya is using the law of primacy as he presents these, because as he presents these 64 items, the first ones are the most important according to the Goswamis, and the last ones he presents are the most important also. So he gives a set of beginning, what is most important for one beginning in devotional service, and at the end for the five most important for advancing in devotional service. So here they are. On the path of regular devotional service, one must observe the following items. 1, one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. 2, one must accept initiation from him. 3, one must serve him. 4, one must receive instructions from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. 5, one must follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. The next steps are as follows. 6, one should be prepared to give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction, and one should also accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. 7, one must live in a place where Krishna is present, a city like Vrindavan or Mathura or a Krishna temple. 8, one should acquire a livelihood that is just sufficient to keep the body and soul together. 9, one must fast on Ekadashi day. 10, one must worship Datri trees, banyan trees, cows, brahmanas, and devotees of Lord Vishnu. 11, one should avoid offenses against devotional service and the holy name. Datri is the Amalaki, or known in the West as gooseberry. But it's glorified in the Shastra as a tree that's very dear to Krishna. It's one of his vibhutis, and it's very dear to Krishna. And devotees, they wear Amalaki seeds around their neck, along with Tulsi. There is the Tulsi and Amalaki Mahatmya that describes all these things. I'll bet you never guess who I got it from. Yeah, you know that's where it came from. From Madhava Maharaj. The 12th, along with my Amalaki necklace that I have on right now, The 12th item, and he won't ever let me take it off. The 12th item is to give up the company of non-devotees. 13, one should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. 14, one should not partially study many scriptures just to be able to give references and expand explanations. There are a couple of really important points here. One about accepting disciples. Now listen to Prabhupada's purport. Very interesting. Accepting an unlimited number of disciples of devotees or disciples is very risky for one who is not a preacher. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, a preacher has to accept many disciples to expand the cult of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. This is risky because when a spiritual master accepts a disciple, he naturally accepts the disciple's sinful activities and their reactions. Unless he is very powerful, he cannot assimilate all the sinful reactions of his disciples, and he has to suffer the consequences. Therefore, it is generally forbidden to accept many disciples. One should not partially study a book just to pose oneself as a great scholar by being able to refer to scriptures. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have therefore limited our study of the Vedic literatures to the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These 4 works are sufficient for preaching purposes. They are adequate for the understanding of the philosophy and the spreading of missionary activities all over the world. If one studies a particular book, he must do it thoroughly. That is the principle. By thoroughly studying a limited number of books, one can understand the philosophy. So you can go deeply within the Srimad Bhagavatam. I know some devotees who have just focused on studying Srimad Bhagavatam exclusively. Hanumat Preshaka Swami is very thorough in his study of Srimad Bhagavatam. And there are others that I know of that live in Vrindavan, also traveling preachers. And the more they study, the more they can see they'll never come to the end of it. It's so vast. But even these 4 books, if you gave up all other activities and just tried to study these 4 books thoroughly, it would be a lifetime task. And now, because we're running out of time, I want to read you a purport from the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.255. May I have 11.255? Srivasa's got it. And I'm just jumping ahead a little bit because time's running out, and I want to just give you this. I wanted you to hear this one verse. The reason I'm jumping ahead is because at the end of this list of 64 items of devotional service, we heard the other day, and you've heard many times, thank you, that there are 5 which are particularly potent, even if one doesn't have faith in them but has a little connection. Then these are so mysteriously potent, then one will come to the perfectional stage. And one of them is the study of the hearing Srimad Bhagavatam in association of advanced devotees. And in describing the potency of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Acharyas have given this verse. Particularly Rupa Goswami has quoted this verse, or maybe it's Jiva Goswami, in his commentary of Rupa Goswami's listing of Srimad Bhagavatam as being one of the most potent activities for advancing in devotional service. So I saw this verse and I wanted you to hear it, because the Bhagavatam is so potent that even if someone's a neophyte, and even if someone doesn't know anything about devotional service, if he or she hears the Bhagavatam, Krishna becomes attracted to the person because they're hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and he won't leave their heart. He becomes so indebted to the person. This is how powerful hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is. And here's one of the verses that the Acharyas give as evidence. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to the conditioned souls that if they call upon Him by speaking His holy name, even unintentionally or unwillingly, the Lord is inclined to destroy innumerable sinful reactions in their hearts. Therefore, when a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet chants the holy name of Krishna with genuine love, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can never give up the heart of such a devotee. One who has thus captured the Supreme Lord within his heart is known as Bhagavat Pradhan, the most exalted devotee of the Lord. In Pranaya Rasayana means the ropes of love. Ropes of love. And I'm going to read the verse one more time. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to the conditioned souls that if they call upon Him by speaking His holy name, even unintentionally or unwillingly, the Lord is inclined to destroy innumerable sinful reactions in their hearts. Therefore, when a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet chants the holy name of Krishna with genuine love, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can never give up the heart of such a devotee. One who has thus captured the Supreme Lord within his heart is to be known as a Bhagavat Pradhan, the most exalted devotee of the Lord. And there's a purport that goes with that, but we've run out of time. Any last comments? Hey, by the way, did you like that verse? Yes. But not very much? Very much. Okay. Just checking. Because it really floored me when I read that verse today. Just remembering, hearing those things, it encourages your devotional service. You may think, oh, I'll never attain anything. But Krishna is so merciful to everyone and to all the living entities. If you make a little endeavor, even unintentionally, what to speak if you're intentionally doing these things, that what will be the results? This is what the Shastras and the great devotees keep saying. So, yes.
Today, everything I can relate because last week I was in LA temple and the very first time I went to the Mangala Arati and it was like the Tulsi.
Give him a hand.
So I had an option to stay with my friends, but I didn't go to their place and went to one of the devotee and sleep on the floor and 4 o'clock went to the Mangala Arati. It was one of the best, I think, experience I ever had in my life. I think the whole, the 2 hours and they chant like 2 hours, like 16 rounds. So that was like I was always wanted to do, but never like procrastination. We'll do tomorrow. And so today I thought maybe there is so I today like get up like 3:30 and I live in Sandamon. So I came here in the morning, like I would like to be again experience the Mangala Arati here, but like then when I came here today morning, but the temple was closed, so then I went back and went to the city. So I just want to experience, like I say that whatever the today's discourse is, totally I can relate. And before I was an atheist, I don't even believe. And I was brought to this association by one of the devotees who gave me Bhagavad Gita in Chicago. So Mataji, there is like, I feel that today's everything I can relate. So thank you, Prabhu. I think I'm very glad that I came to today's class.
Thank you very much. That's very moving. Mangala Arati is at 4:30.
Oh yeah, maybe I came a little bit late, but around like 5.
You came at 5?
Yeah, something like that. There was nobody here.
4:30. There's always somebody here at that time because.
Yeah, maybe a little. I was a little bit late today.
Yeah, and if the pujaris are here doing their service and they don't know somebody else is coming at 4:30, they might keep the door locked. So if you're coming tomorrow, we'll make special arrangement. Okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Now let's put away all the shastras efficiently, but with great respect, and all the asanas and books, and then we'll stand up and we'll have the evening artik. Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitina Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshata Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arotiko Shobha Janavi Tata Bane Jagamana Loba Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotiko Shobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Jaga Jana Mana Lobha Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Dake Nitai Chan Bame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Shrini Vashatradara Bose Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane. Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagani Nara Hari Hari Kori Chamaradulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Gosharigaya Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Hey, Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Shankha Baje, Ganta Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Shankha Baje, Ganta Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Madhur, Madhur, Madhur Baje Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Badana Ujjwala Gala Deshe Vanamala Kori Chalamala Shiva Shukanarada Primigadagada Pakati Vinoda Deke Gaurada Sampada Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare. Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare. Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hare. Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Oh, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Krishna, hey. Krishna 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 Krishna, hey. Krishna 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 Rakshamam. Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahimam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanande Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stotara Shishimada Bhai Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stotara Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaur Bhakta Vrindaki Sri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shamkund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrindaki. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Go Premanande Haribo.
Namaste Narasingaya Veladala Dadaine Hito Nashima Parato Narima Shilatanka Nakalaye Hito Nashima Parato Nashima Hito Nashima Parato Nashima Yata Amitato Nashima Mahir Nashima Rida hai Nashima Mahir Nashima Rida hai Nashima. Then Mama Dim Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamalava Nakam Adbhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Danu Bringa Jaja Keshavadita Narari Rupa Jajagadisha Re Jajagadisha Re Jajagadisha Re. Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Nashimade, 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 Jaya Nashimade. Jai Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jai Mahaprabhu, 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 Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nittai Gora Haribo, 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 Nittai Gora Haribo. Narsimdev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Gaur Premanande.
Welcome everyone to the Wednesday night Gita class. Hare Krishna. And we'd like to give a special welcome to all those who are here for the first time. And I know one is Stacy, who drove all the way from Santa Cruz, took her 2 hours to come here, from Carmel Valley, all the way from Carmel Valley, a 2-hour drive, and it's her first time to the temple, so let's give her a warm welcome. I met Stacy at the Rath Theatre in San Francisco, and it's been a couple of months since we've seen you, and I could tell at the time that you were sincere and serious, and now you've come all the way from Carmel Valley. So wonderful to have you here. And we have lots of devotees who can make sure that all your questions are answered, everything like that. So if you have any questions or you need anything, let us know, okay? All right. Anybody else here for the first time? Not you, okay. Is your first time?
I've visited here a few times.
I thought you had. Well, welcome back. Namke. Yeah. Good to see you. Great to see you here. And everyone else as well. I saw Bali Mardan Prabhu in the kitchen cooking. I don't know if anybody else went back to help him. He was the sole cook tonight. So let's hear it for Bali Mardan, the solo. I saw that he volunteered to cook tonight, and I went back just before class, and I looked in there, and he was very absorbed, and he looked up, and he was completely blissful doing his service back there. There's nothing like devotional service for one to be completely happy. Ahaitu kiya pratiyata. And we have coming up this weekend, Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. as usual, we're going to have a Bhagavatam class. We're going on with the teachings of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. A program on Sunday. And then next week, something to look forward to, it's Gita Jayanti, the day that the Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. And that'll be on Thursday, which is also an Ekadashi. So it's a big day. We'll be gathering here in the temple room at 5 o'clock on next Thursday. Of course, we'll have a Wednesday program as well. And then Thursday, starting at 5 o'clock, we'll start reciting the Bhagavad Gita. And we'll go all the way through. We'll recite all the verses to the Bhagavad Gita, all 700 verses, until we finish, which will take us 2 hours and 42 minutes to the end. Then on Sunday, we'll be... What's that? 5 o'clock in the evening, yeah. Where's Jay? It's 5 o'clock in the evening on Thursday. And then we will have... Jay, this is your first time here, too.
I think I have attended one class.
You were here one earlier class. Okay. Then we'll have a repeat performance of the Gita Jayanti on the Sunday, following Sunday. Pardon me? That's on, it got pushed forward, not this Friday, but the next Friday. We changed it. We thought it was too close to the other Harinam that we just had. At least it was a decision we made last night on the Sankirtan leaders' call. I didn't do it unilaterally. I was advised by the other Sankirtan devotees to push it out a little bit, to spread it out. Is that okay with everyone, or would you rather go both times or this time? Because I'm up for it. But in any case, we rescheduled it for the following Friday. So it'll be a big week. There'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, no lack of devotional service. And Sunday we'll have a fire yajna accompanying a recitation of the most important verses in the Bhagavad Gita, chosen from each chapter. And we'll be making special offering oblations into the fire for this Bhagavad Gita yajna. And then we'll also have a mountain of Bhagavad Gitas in the temple room, and we'll distribute them all to people who are coming. We're also distributing flyers all over the Bay Area for people to come to the Gita Jayanti on Sunday. People will naturally come to the one on Thursday. We're also advertising for that. But Sunday, more people will come, so we'll have a large yajna on that day. Also aimed at distributing more Bhagavad Gitas, of course. And tonight, prasadam will be served right out here. Okay? And are there any other announcements? Yes, Gandharvika.
Just Malini Mataji was saying that so many devotees have generously sponsored for so many Bhagavad Gitas. So Vaisesika Prabhu has also given the Sankirtan leaders the goal that we collect all the pledges before December 15th so that we get the mercy, full mercy. So if anybody wants to pay, you can contact me. Malini Mataji is not here, so I can take, or Malini Mataji or Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu can take the payments. So December 15th is the date that Vaisesika Prabhu said we collect all the pledges. So please help us in achieving that goal. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of devotees have pledged donations, and we'd like to collect them as early as possible because we have to send them in to the BBT before the end of the year. Ramananda Prabhu.
Yeah, I have one announcement. There is a fresh bread made by the temple, and it's for sale, $5 each. We'll put it in the temple room on one of these tables. If you want to take the bread, take it and keep the $5 in the temple hundi. Thank you.
Jai. Anything else? We're inching towards our goal. We have 500 more Bhagavad Gitas to distribute to reach the magic mark of 19,065 Bhagavad Gitas. That's just 500 to go. Hare Krishna. And we have the small sum of $20,000 left to collect. We've already collected over $60,000, so the distance we've come is much further than the distance we have to go. And also the mystery wall is available, and we're putting it up on the internet in various places, so you can pass the word on to people that we have plenty of outlets for distributing Bhagavad Gitas leading up to the Gita Jayanti, and we're taking all kinds of pledges in order to meet our goal before the 4th of January. Hare Krishna. Put up the prasadam prayer, please. Sharira Dividya Jal Jodendraya Tahikal Jibe Bele Vishaya Shagare Tara Medyeti Vayati Loba moi sudurmati Take jeta katina shangshare Krishna Bodhatoya moi Goribare Chihajar Swaprashananda Dilobhai Shayanamrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Premi Dako Chaitanya Nita Ma Prasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swapa Punya Patam Rajan Vishvaso Navajayate Prasade Sarvadhukanam Hanirasyo Pajayate Prasana Chetaso Yashu Buddhi Parya Patishtate Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasada Ki Go Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Please come take prasadam. Haribo.
For those who have joined us online, that ends the today's broadcasting. We will again be going live on this coming Saturday starting at 4:30 a.m. US Pacific time in the morning. Hare Krishna.